It's Canadian Kyle here at the Wealth Owners Podcast. And today I'm joined with Blake Morgan. He's the CEO of Opawica Exploration. I practiced it too. Sorry, Opawica. I hope I got it right. An exploration company in Quebec and Newfoundland. And their ticker symbol is OPW on the TSXV. So Blake, thanks for joining me today. Where are you calling in from?
Thanks for having me on, Kyle. I'm actually calling in from downtown Vancouver.
All right. So I always start off the interview the same. I asked my new guest, what they were doing when they were my age. I'm 25. So what were you doing from 20 to 25 years old?
20 to 25. Interesting time, actually. So when I was 20 to 25, I was a commercial fisherman. So I was working on commercial fishing boats on the continental shelf, which is at the top of Northern Territory in Australia. So basically in between the border of Indonesia and the Northern Territory. So yeah, we used to go out for 14 days. You'd work 14 days straight. You'd probably be working around 18 hours a day. So it was pretty tough work. And I did that for about 8 years when I was a young fella before I went into the mining industry. So it was definitely an interesting time. One thing it did teach you is hard work. It wasn't one of those industries, and it's sort of what we're in now, is you're not getting paid by the hour. You're getting paid by how much you catch and basically as hard as you work. So it taught me that work ethic, which was fantastic. So that's what I was up to around, that age of my life.
Wow. 18-hour days, shift work like that. I'm sure some of the mining people out there understand that grind, but that's crazy. Wow.
They certainly do. It's very, very similar to the mining crowd. The mining, you're not working as many hours now because of health and safety reasons, but I tell you, back in those days, they certainly were.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, what experience do you have to become a CEO of an exploration company?
So my family's been involved in mining for about 60 years, and my father worked for Rio Tinto for about 40 years. And that's where I got started. So I got a bit of a leg in the door by being his son, obviously. And I started working my way up, through that industry. I spent roughly about 5, nearly 6 years with Rio, slowly clawing my way up. Once I was in a good position there, I actually made a move across to BHP, and I spent around 2.5 years with BHP in Australia. Then after about 2.5 years, I made a move to Santos and worked about 2.5 years with them. So about 10 years with the majors in Australia, sort of working out my craft, working out how the operations run, and getting a real inside knowledge of the mines. The first 5 years of those 10 years, I was actually on the ground doing the hard work. And then as I progressed older, I went into a bit of a management role. I was doing a lot of occupational health and safety at the beginning. And I tell you, occupational health and safety, you're not very liked in the mines. So it was definitely a hard few years. But during that time, I made a lot of connections. I worked out, what property value is, how to obtain property, and really how to produce something into a working, functioning company. So I took that knowledge across to Canada. I had a few private companies in Australia that used to pick up ground and sell them to pubcos. So I did quite well out of that. We also had an investment company out of Australia. So I've been investing in mining stocks and junior mining stocks for the past 10 to 15 years. And that's sort of how it led into this progression. In Canada, when I moved here a few years ago, so I've been here about 3 years now, I had a couple of private companies. Those private companies turned into public companies. And now I'm running Opawica, and I also have another company that I'm the president of. So it was sort of a long, drawn-out process to get to where we are now. But the experience is there. I've got a bit of youth on my side, which is fantastic. And I'm turning 40 next year. So I've got plenty of energy. And building those connections, through Rio and BHP and Santos and stuff gives me that extra advantage when I'm looking for advice, or, that advisory type of position, or we need to raise funds and stuff for the company. I have access to those sort of things. So it's definitely helped out.
Okay. So this ain't your first business. You have an entrepreneurial job. I was going to ask because I was wondering why switch from the nice salary job to a notoriously risky venture, CEO of an exploration company.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Well, I like the risk, and it's the treasure hunt. We're finding gold. We're looking for a mine. When you've got the nice, cushy salary job, it's fantastic. It's nice and safe. But I wanted that adventure. I wanted to go out and find something spectacular, and I wanted to make people a lot of money. So things are going well so far, and I'm hoping that can continue as time progresses.
Okay. Okay. And any experience in Quebec or Newfoundland prior to this company?
No, there wasn't. So I had a lot of experience in BC, but Quebec, not so much. Now, with Newfoundland, a few years ago is when I started to muck around in that region. So before it really started to get hot, I think it was 2017, Newfound Gold with our private company at the time. They were doing some pretty cool stuff in the region. And that's when we started to really look at it. Now, Newfoundland, we see it as a very similar model to what we've got in Quebec. And that's why we started to look at the region. So, I've been looking at it now for 3 or 4 years, and we moved in there quite early. So not as inexperienced as some of the other people, like you've got Sean Ryan, who's in the area. He's a bit of a veteran, that's for sure. But building that experience, definitely.
Okay. Thank you for that. And why Canada? Why Australia has a good mining industry? Why even come here? You must like the winters or something, eh?
No, I don't like the winters, actually. What it is my wife is Canadian. So I was somewhat tricked, I'm going to say, to come over here. I didn't realize how cold it was until I got here. But now here, like I love Vancouver. I love BC. It reminds me of a cold Australia, I suppose. But that's the reason. My wife's Canadian, and that's what got me over here. And I'm glad I made the move, actually.
Okay. Glad to have you. You haven't been to Ontario yet, have you? I'm in Northwestern Ontario. I think it's a little different than
Yeah, so I have.
Vancouver.
I've traveled actually about a month, 2, 3 weeks ago. Sorry, I made a trip. I went over to Calgary, went over to Toronto and Montreal. Just obviously talking about Opawica and starting to build up some support, ready for the good push that's coming in September, October. So I got to travel. I've got to see what's going on. It's been tough, obviously, with coronavirus over the last 18 months, but we managed with what we got.
Yeah. So, well, tell me about that because you're in Vancouver and your project's in Quebec and Newfoundland. So, tell me about the technical guys on your team and who's doing the field work for you.
Yeah, wonderful. So we've got Gold Spot. So I'm not sure if you know of Gold Spot, but they're doing some phenomenal stuff. So we've signed up with them, and they're doing a lot of our technical assessment and using their AI technology to come up with drill targets. We've got a lot of data on some of our properties, and using Gold Spot will really format that together and get us a good look at what we want to go after. So that's sort of how we're going about it with our technical side. We also have our head geo, Derek Strickland. He's very familiar with Quebec, so we've got him working on the projects as well. We've got a great team out in that region. It's quite easy to get drill rigs. Quebec is a very friendly mining town. So apart from, you do struggle in, let's say, the Golden Triangle. Newfoundland is actually hard at the moment to get teams and get crews out there. But in Quebec, it's not too bad. So we've got everything organized. We've got Gold Spot working for our drill targets. We're going to get Derek doing the just going over and doing the checking just to make sure we're ready to go on those drill targets. And then we should be drilling in the next month to 2 months, which is going to be fantastic.
Very exciting. So, I did interview Dennis Lavalette on the podcast. So it's an impressive team there for sure. You get a whole army with that package.
Exactly.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about the Bazooka property? Just give me a overlook of that property, what it's all about.
Yeah. So what we've got is we've got something quite exciting here. We've got about 12 kilometers of the Cadillac Larder Break. It's a prolific gold region. We've got numerous mines around us. We've got numerous working mills. So just next door to us, we have the Yamada project. So Yamada Wasamac, it was bought out from Marathon Gold earlier this year, about 6 months ago, for $200 million. And they've got, just don't get me wrong, a bit over 2.5 million ounces on that project. And that's roughly about 500 meters from us. So you can see we're in a fantastic region. Then we've got next door to the Bazooka property, we've got IM Gold. Now, IM Gold is currently drilling the Argamento shaft. The Argamento shaft is actually 200 meters from our Bazooka shaft. So what we like about that is they're doing some quite good results. So it's giving us a bit more indication of structure, modeling, and sort of where to look. The Bazooka property itself, we've only actually explored about 3 kilometers of the 12. Now, in that 3 kilometer zone, we've got a very, very nice high-grade gold region. So we're talking of grades of, we have 5 meters at 42 grams. We've got a meter at 300 grams. We've got 7 meters at 25 grams. So we've got some pretty phenomenal stuff there. It's open at every direction apart from west, because obviously that's where Iron Gold is, east. And we plan on exploring that even further. So what we're going to do there this year is we've got Iron Gold going over our data. We already have some fantastic drill targets. We're hoping Iron Gold come back in the next few weeks. They've said we should see something soon. Once we get some fantastic drill targets from them, we'll correlate that with what we've got, and then we'll go out and we'll drill that project. Now, we've budgeted for 5,000 meters this year. We've got money in reserves in case we want to go bigger. And we plan on really attacking that high grade region. Now, on top of that, we're going to do some geophysics, and we're going to continue to explore the other 9 kilometers. We're hoping that we find more of these deposits as we go down. So we're going to expand the one that we have. We're going to work towards a resource. And then we're also going to explore the other 9 kilometers. So that's what we're up to on the Bazooka. It's a very, very exciting property. You know, it's surrounded by juggernauts. They've got some good grades. Next door, obviously, the Iron Gold has over 1 million ounces. The Wasamac obviously has over 2.5 million ounces. And there's our smack bang in the middle. So that's what we got going on in the Bazooka. We're pretty excited, especially for this year. And this should take us into a really, really big drill program again next year.
Okay, so then you give all those numbers from Iron Gold and your neighboring projects, as well as the historical ones, and Goldspot's going to do their thing, crunch the numbers. You hope to drill it out.
Exactly. So Goldspot has a large database. So they've got all our data now. They've got data from surrounding properties, and then they've got all the data from the government. They put that all together. We do a bit of geophysics, a bit of ground truthing at the same time, and it sort of correlates to where we should drill. Now, we've obviously got a good zone that we know where to attack. It's where the high grade is. So that's our focus at the moment. So we've already got some fantastic drill targets, but we're looking to get more gratification from Goldspot to say, yeah, you're right, this is where you want to drill. So, you know, we've got the money in the bank. There's no point rushing. If it takes us another 2 weeks to come up with the proper drill targets, we'll wait that 2 weeks. So, you know, we've still got plenty of time this year to get started on drilling, and we're expecting that to happen in the close future.
And where is that deposit located on the Bazooka property? You said it was 12 kilometers? Or?
No, so the Bazooka shaft is located on the western side of the Bazooka property. So close to the border of the eastern side.
Eastern, okay.
You've got the eastern side, you've got the Bazooka shaft, and then next door, Iron Gold, you got the Augmento shaft, and we're smack bang in the middle. And then we've got 9 kilometers going west that we're going to explore as well. So our drill results are open in every direction, except for the east, obviously, because our border cuts off. So we've got to have a good look of what's on this break as we start to drill down, and also focus on some of these really big high grade zones. So, you know, we've got other results there of nearly 6 meters at 77 grams. We've got nearly 1 meter at 800 grams. So we've got some monstrous numbers that we plan on following up. So it's pretty exciting.
Very nice. And can you talk about the financial deal or side of the Goldspot deal? Because they have a royalty now of 0.5% on the Bazooka property, right?
That's exactly right. So, you know, Goldspot obviously like our properties. So that we've come into a royalty deal with them. We've given them 0.5% on the Bazooka, and then they've got the right to buy 0.5% for $1 million on a few of our other properties as well. So, you know, Goldspot signing up for something like that just shows what they think of our properties. Clearly, you know, they think we've got something exciting there, just like we do. So it's a fantastic deal for us, and it's a fantastic deal for them. Now, then we've got Goldspot obviously signed up for the next 18 months, working with us, going over. So far, they're working on the Bazooka property and the Arrowhead property, and we'll have our drill target soon. Then after that, we'll move over and we'll start to work on the Newfoundland properties, and we'll start to get drill targets ready over there. So I could go into how we are with the cash position if you want, so you can get a bit of an understanding of where we are, but I won't jump the gun. Sorry.
No worries. I'm just wondering, but just for why am I blanking here? The Goldspot deal, sorry, is 1 million per 0.5% royalty considered expensive, cheap? That seems rather cheap, doesn't it? Or
no. So normally, you know, the average you'll probably pay is $1 million for a full percent. You know, so theirs is 0.5% for $1 million. So it's quite a good deal, and it's something to sort of look at. It gives a good look at Goldspot's books. And then if things to go well, they can jump in and take that percent and have a nice royalty when hopefully things go into production. So I don't know exactly the way Gold Spot work, but I'm assuming they take a royalty when they consider something could turn into obviously a productioning mine. And then they really make some decent money. So that's sort of how it eventuated with Gold Swap.
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned it already, so you might as well continue with it. How much cash in the bank and what's your market cap?
Yeah, so market cap is only $13 million. So we're doing quite well, actually. We just recently raised $5.3 million. So we put out, and we're only going to raise $4 million. We oversubscribed 5.3. We had Eric Sprott personally take $1 million himself. Then we had Sprott Asset Management take over $500,000. So he's in for about 30% of that financing. And obviously Eric Sprott knows what he's doing and he likes the company. Then out of that, the $5.3 million, the raise was quite good. So we raised it 40 cents hard dollars with a half warrant at 60 cents. And we raised the flow through at 50 cents with a half warrant at 60 cents. We're currently trading, I think, at about 35 cents. So we're actually under that financing, which we oversubscribed $1.3 million. Our share structure is super tight. We've only got 37 million shares out. We don't have any 5-cent paper sitting around. It's a very tight stock. Our warrants are at 60 cents. So hopefully when things go well, we can get them exercised and top up the treasury. Obviously, we had Gold Spot come in as an investor. So it was quite structured well. Financing was fantastic. We've only spent a little bit of money as we're starting to work towards this thing. So we've got over $4.5 million sitting in the bank. And that's what we're going to be using to progress our projects this year. So we can do 10,000 meters in Quebec, and that doesn't cost too much, surprisingly. It's actually well priced in that region compared to everywhere else in Canada. So we get that low price drilling over there, which is fantastic. And then we've still got plenty of money in the bank to expand that drilling. We have plenty of money in the bank to now drill some of our properties in Newfoundland. So we're set up quite well in regards to funding, which is fantastic.
Okay. And you said 5,000 at Bazooka. The other 5 is at Arrowhead, right? So why don't you go ahead and talk about that property?
Yeah, so I'll jump a bit into the Arrowhead. So we're going to drill 5,000 on the Bazooka, like you mentioned, and we're drilling 5,000 meters on the Arrowhead. So the Arrowhead is a little bit different to the Bazooka. We got fantastic grades. So we have like 90 grams over a meter. So we've got some fantastic stuff. Now, what we have with the Arrowhead project is we're completely surrounded by Agnico Eagle. Agnico Eagle is on every side of us. Agnico Eagle pulled out around 900,000 ounces out of the ground, not far from our property last year. They also have Iron Gold next to us, have the West Haven mine. Then Agnico Eagle have the LaRonde mine. So you've got numerous mills within a 20 kilometers radius. We've got 3 different shafts that have been sunk on the Arrowhead project at 40, 60, and 112 meters. I think it is off the top of my head. And these shafts were actually mined many years ago, so in the 60s, and they're producing really good grades. So about 18 grams per ton, which is fantastic. Now, we plan to follow up on all that old sort of structure and drill that property this year. We want to do a bit of seismic coming up shortly. Gold Spot are obviously working through the data there, and we'll start to attack that. What's interesting is we've got Agnico Eagle drilling close to our border. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of interest, obviously, in that property. People are talking to us regularly. But what we plan on doing there, we want to expand on that asset a fair bit. And that's what the 5,000 meters is going to do. So the lucky thing is there, we've got a road access to the property. There's power there. We're not far from Real Noranda, so the town, which is wonderful. And that's sort of what the plan is there. No one's been on the property for the last 18 months. And this is when we're going to really attack it this year. So we're looking forward to getting back out there, doing a bit of early work as we progress towards our drilling campaign.
Okay. So yep. Agnico Eagle did some drilling around your property. We got to ask, why haven't they bought it then yet? If it's right, like it's completely surrounded by Agnico Eagle.
Yeah, it is. So I can't really talk too much about that discussion. There's a few confidentiality agreements out with a few people, so I can't dive into that. But we definitely are talking to a lot of people in regards to that asset.
Can you tell me how long you've had it in? How long have you owned this property? So this
property's been in the catalog now for about 5 years. Discussions have been had with majors before, but the company's decided to hang on to the property to progress it. And that's the plan that we want to do. So, the Bazooka is going to be a drilling plan straight away. Arrowhead will be about a month behind. And there are two main assets that we're going to really press this year. As we continue talks with, other majors and stuff like that in regards to these properties. So we've had a lot of interest, but I can't dive into it too much.
For sure.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So, okay. Makes sense. What else do I have for you here? So is there any interest at the Bazooka property? Like you have partners around there? Is there people interested in that? Can you say?
There's a lot of interest. The region we're in is basically an area of heavyweights. You've got Iron Gold, Agnico Eagle, Yamada, Falcon. These companies are all worth $1 billion to $5 billion. And then you've got little old Opawica sitting right in the middle of them with fantastic high-grade assets with a market cap of 13 million. So we do have a lot of interest from a lot of majors. But the good thing is we're well funded and we're going to progress these assets until, quite substantial offers get made. We're looking for a large buyout. And we've got the funding to start to produce that. And we have the access to get more funding. So, we're going to really press these assets. And when we start to build up these resources and stuff, then we'll really start to progress these majors.
Well, I'm glad I heard you say that. I like people with a clear vision. Some might say it might be a mine, it might be a takeout target, but you guys are clearly takeout target. That's what you see with your company.
That's exactly what I see with the company. That's right. I don't want to start a mine. I want to find one, and then I want the big guys that are obviously professionals are running them to take over and buy me out. So that's sort of what we're going, and that's what's best for the shareholders. You have a big takeout, and that's when the shareholders do well. So, and if you look at SETI, I'm buying shares every day. I love the company. I think it's going to go places. So I'm buying stock non-stop. Whereas, you get a lot of other companies where the CEO's not buying it. So I show my faith by making a purchase nearly every day. So we believe in this. And the way we're all going to do well is with this buyout. So that's what we're working towards.
I was going to mention that I did notice you have been buying a lot and frequently, and I was wondering, is it because you believe in the company? Is it a gold thesis? Like, what is your thoughts on the overall gold market right now?
Yeah, so I think the gold market's steady. You're going to see some ups and downs. I don't see it going to a gazillion dollars like some people say, but I think we'll trickle up as the year progresses, and we'll sit around that $2,000 mark, which is absolutely fantastic. When you're pulling ounces out the ground, and your rates are about $1,200, and you can make $600 to $800 an ounce, and you've got a million ounces, it's fantastic. So, but the reason I'm buying is the belief in the company. I think the assets we have are second to none. Our market cap is absolutely ridiculously undervalued, I think. Clearly, we have Eric Sprott putting in at 40 and 50 cents when the share price wasn't even trading at that high at the time. We're sitting at 35 cents now, and I think it's an undervalued stock. Hence why I'm buying everything I can.
So Eric Sprott was interested in the Quebec properties, because you can call it New Sprotland now in Newfoundland, but he's more interested in Quebec.
He is. He's very happy, obviously, that we've got the Newfoundland stuff because he loves the area. He's involved in all the good companies there, which is smart. So, but it's the Quebec, our Quebec stuff is proven. Newfoundland it's a bit more green pastures. We've got the ounces, we've got the grades, and we're just going back to make more discoveries and expand. But then on top of that, we have the excitement of Newfoundland. We've got 39,000 hectares in that region, and that he definitely didn't overlook that. That's for certain.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about those hectares then? Is it all green pasture there? No historical data? What do you have going on?
No. We've got plenty of historical data. So in the 80s, you had an Aranda there. Actually, two of the properties that we've got, sorry, bear with me. Two of the properties that we actually have were owned by BHP. So it's got a lot of data on there. So again, we're going to have Goldspot go over that data over the next month. Just got over the next month, they should be getting stuck into that. We actually just got prospecting permits for Newfoundland. So we'll be putting guys out on the ground in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to do, about a month program out there. So we'll have a good team out there. We're going to start to get some more data. We're going to do some channel sampling, some chip sampling. A lot of things that you get in Newfoundland is visible gold on quartz on surface. So, we're hoping to get out there and sample some of the, the surface stuff and really start to progress these things. On top of that, Goldspot is going to start to do their work. So what we've got here is we've got 39,000 hectares. We've got 3 properties on the Marathon Gold trend, on the Valentine's Gold, basically. So you've got Marathon Gold, it's got about 3 million ounces, absolute juggernaut of a company, should be going into production next year. We're on the same trend as that. So we're going to be going there, having a look at that break and sort of attacking that. I won't go into it too much because I'm not a geologist and I'd rather the guys speak about it. But basically, we modeled this region on the Abitibi. So it's the same structural controls. We've seen a bit of an exciting path to enter that, about a year ago, before everyone had got into the region. And we picked up these beautiful bits of ground. Obviously, since then, there's basically no land left.
Yeah,
it is absolutely phenomenal over there. So we're going to go and attack them. We also have another 2 properties that's not on that side. These 2 properties are over where Newfound Gold are doing their big stuff. So these are just off the Appleton Fault. And we've got some really high grade on that. So we've got like 120 grams per ton in float samples. So we plan on putting crews out there in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to follow up on that. Why we're following up, obviously, I said that Goldspot's going to be doing their data, and we'll see where that eventuates over the next month or 2. But if we can drill it this year, we'll start to look at it. But we'll definitely be looking to do some big things with those properties next year. Okay. So, it's an exciting time over there. It's a gold rush like I haven't seen before. You got some companies just getting some great grades. Obviously, Newfound Gold's, I think that's about $1.6 billion. So those guys are doing some fantastic stuff. And obviously, Denny's involved in that at Goldspot. So it's a very hot area. Obviously, like you said, Eric Sprott, he's invested in a couple of the main companies there. He loves the region. He sees it as that next, Abitibi, Fosterville type of situation, sort of how we see it as well. So I think we're going to see some major discoveries come out of Newfoundland. And we have 5 of some of the best properties in the region there. So, the properties that we picked up aren't properties that are picking up now. These are properties from last year. They've been established. They're right in the heart of the action. And we're going to go and attack these properties, later on in this year.
So it is going to be drilling. You want to sell properties, obviously, but you're not going to sell them until you develop them a little more.
Exactly right. Like I said, we've got 5 properties in Newfoundland. We're not going to develop all of them, but what we are going to do, we're definitely going to increase the value substantially. So we'll get guys out on the ground. We'll do some geophysics. We'll do some groundwork, and once these properties turn into something a bit more, maybe we sell one off and put a few $1 million in the bank. I'm not sure if you've seen some of the deals going around at the moment, but people are paying an absolute fortune for property over there, and we've got some of the best. So not only can we be drilling the Bazooka and the Arrowhead, and we're fully cashed up, if we need a few more dollars, we could always sell off one of these assets and fund more drilling. So we don't have to dilute, and the shareholders can keep maintaining their share structure and be very happy.
Okay. One last question before we get into the vault. Did you say you have 2 drill rigs going? Is that the plan? What's going to happen in a month or 2?
Yeah, so the plan will be once we get started, we'll have 2. We're hoping to have 2 rigs going. We've got one basically organized now. We should pick up the second one soon, and then we'll have one on the Bazooka, one on the Arrowhead. Hopefully, then we can pick up and maybe put a second one there. But we'll see how we go. A lot of our drilling is quite shallow. We're not drilling really deep, so depends on time and how everything's going with winter. Will we pick up a second drill rig? Maybe. The good thing about the Abitibi and Bazooka, we've got roads directly to where we drill. It's not like the Golden Triangle. You can drill all round where we are. So we're not going to get shut out if the weather sort of turns bad. So, but we're looking for a second drill at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. You've answered a lot of my questions. I have a clear picture of your goal, what the company's all about. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, wonderful.
Now it's time for the vault segment. When I get my questions done, we go into the vault, and in the vault, it's mentorship like questions. So it's not about your company. It's what advice you could provide me and the listeners out there. It won't be available on YouTube, but it will be available on my website. Feel free to post on yours if you'd like. It'll be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But let's get into the vault.
Wonderful.
So Blake, I appreciate your time here. It was been a nice chat, but I do like letting my guests close off. So here's your chance. Say whatever you'd like to finish us off here.
Oh, well, thanks very much for having me on, Kyle. And I just want to say is you should go out and check out Opawica. You have a look what we've got. Have a look at our properties. We think we're extremely undervalued. We've got a big drill pet campaign coming up. We're fully funded, and you're going to see some pretty exciting things coming out of us in the next, month to 12 months. So stay tuned, definitely.
Perfect. And where can we find information and get a hold of you?
So you can just jump on a website, opawica.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, but you can get all our details for opawica.com. You can contact us there. We've got phone numbers, we've got emails. I'm pretty friendly. So, hey, give me a call anytime and we can have a chat.
Perfect. Thanks, Blake.
Wonderful. Thank you. Take care.